T minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hi, my name is Doug. I'm the president of Guardians of the Purple Heart, and we are a 501c3 approved nonprofit organization based here in southeastern Connecticut that specializes in obtaining items or services for Connecticut combat wounded veterans that aren't being met by other organizations like the VA. So what we like to think is where the VA or these other establishments have to leave off because of their corporate red tape and limitations, we can come in behind them and fulfill these needs by reaching out to the community, working with our vast network of supporters, and just coming together as a whole and supporting these Purple Heart recipients and improving their overall quality of life. A lot of people ask us, how do they get involved and how do they join in on the fun with us? A lot of things you could do. Follow us on Facebook, #1, Instagram, Twitter. Go to our website at gotph.org. You can send donations, send us a message. Spread the word of what we're doing. All the Connecticut Purple Heart recipients, we are out there trying to make a difference in their lives. So please give us a hand and join in on the fun.
Bring your appetite down to Big Belly Cafe, 140 Gore Street, Webster, Mass. for curbside, takeout, and indoor seating. Visit bigbellycafe.com to view their hours, menu, and order online. For reservations, please call ahead at 508-949-2433. Follow Big Belly Cafe on Facebook for weekly and daily specials. And remember, all veterans receive a discount for their recognition of service. Big Belly Cafe. Reedy's Archery, located in Middleborough, Mass. at 121 Wood Street, has been a staple in the area since 1993 and has become the one-stop pro shop for competitive target archers and bow hunters from New England. Reedy's is open Monday through Thursday, 12 p.m. to 8 p.m., Saturdays, 10 p.m. to 4 p.m. Make sure to visit reedysarchery.com and follow them on Facebook to keep up with upcoming events. Reedy's Archery, dedicated to the archer. Wolf Aviation Network is the only flight school in the area utilizing the Airwolf Simulator AATD and the specialized Part 61 training program designed to save students money while increasing safety and efficiency. Creating safe pilots is our first priority. Our flight sim is the perfect training device. It is designed to prepare students adequately before taking flight in our aircraft. Fly with us and save money. Wolf Aviation. Reserve your spot at 413-563-1929 and visit wolfaviationnetwork.com.
This is what we train for, every day.
We just received new intel that there's an enemy presence at the airstrip compound.
All those years. When you're the first to arrive, it's not enough to be ready. You have to be relentless. It's our job to control the ground and the sky, wherever they may meet, even behind enemy lines. They call us one-man air traffic control towers, but we're more than that.
Ivy Lima Charlie, break. Airfield is stable. You are clear to land.
We turn hell into an airstrip. And clear the way for others to follow.
That would be cool.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Welcome everybody. Welcome to another episode of Fubar Studios. I'm your host, Doug, and today we've got a special guest again with us, back again, Jan Babcock. I can't even pronounce the last name.
You can imagine the picking on my husband went through in school. Babcock.
See, I was gonna say Bobcat, but then I'm like, no, it's B-A-B. So I'm like, oh, I gotta figure this out. But anyways, welcome, Jan. Welcome. We appreciate you coming back on again for a second episode here. And today we're going to be talking to all the viewers regarding the comp and pen, as well as survival benefits, and if we get into it and we have enough time, into secondary stuff, like maybe Camp Lejeune, 3M stuff. We're also going to probably be touching on the education part of the benefits of when you get out of the service and when you're able to try to get into some kind of other related field that that's near to you, that you may not have the education for, that the VA does pick up and is helping out with those. So without further ado, I'm going to have you go ahead and introduce yourself again, Jan, and then we'll get into it.
Okay. Well, basically, I'm retired Army Reserve, but I served 4 periods of active duty. So I actually have 4 DD-214s and totaling out to 8.5 years of active duty time. I am 3rd generation Army, so I didn't have a choice of what branch I could go to. My dad would not have been happy if I'd said anything other than Army.
Yeah.
But then I spent 11.5 years as a nationally accredited County Veterans Service Officer. And there are thousands of veteran service officers out there who are trained, tested, go to annual training every year, and they are absolutely free. We actually, as a VSO, you actually have to sign an ethics statement with the VA saying you will not charge a veteran for your services.
Yeah.
Sometimes office supplies. I mean, if you want your full claim file and it takes up a ream of paper, they may charge you for the paper.
Yeah.
Because as tight as our budgets were in the office, yeah, even postage sometimes was difficult for us. But
yeah,
that's basically my background. Now I'm retired.
Yeah.
I get to turn 65 in just a couple weeks here. Got my Medicare card in the mail. That was a little strange, but I'm ready for that, totally.
Nice. And you're still doing the advocate as like helping out with anybody that may reach out to you because they've seen you on either this podcast or Travis's podcast, Oscar Mike Radio, and anything else that you get onto and talk to, or even if you run into someone probably out and about. I can just imagine, you seeing someone and a veteran and whatnot, and you're probably introducing yourself to them and, checking on them, just seeing how they're doing.
Making sure they know the county veteran service officer, because most counties, states, and or veteran organizations actually employ people to do the training, help with the paperwork, have that relationship with VA, and that, like I said, it's free, and they know all the secret backdoor telephone numbers.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I can contest to that. There's people I know that are VSOs, and a lot of them just know right off the back of their hands, certain things, and they're like, oh, this is what you want to contact. This is who you want to, reach out to. This is what you need to do. So, totally get it. So, going into the comp and pen, which comp and pension through the VA, can you dive into that and, tell the viewers?
Okay, sure. Now, last time we met, we talked quite a bit about compensation and the evidence and stuff, but just to kind of give a real quick recap on that. Compensation was put into place in order to supplement income based on the loss of employability.
Yeah.
Everything that you have that's service connected, they have a chart that shows, the potential for lost employment. After all, the guy that got diagnosed as type 2 diabetic, perhaps from Agent Orange, Vietnam, Thailand, and all the other places that they used it, he's no longer able to get a CDL. He's not allowed to do, like semi-truck driving, double truck driving, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So that's a loss of employment.
Yeah.
Now his diabetes becomes uncontrollable, or he starts having neuropathy in his feet. He's not able to do a lot of standing and walking. That again adds another dimension to jobs that he's no longer able to seek.
Yeah.
So that's what compensation is meant to do. It's meant to replace those employment options. It's also meant to talk about the degree of which you as a person have your quality of life type measurements.
Correct.
But that is something that the main thing VA looks at is any injury or illness caused by or aggravated by military service that is a chronic detractor of the quality of life and has a current diagnosis. Those are the most important factors. In other words, sprain your ankle in basic training and it's 40 years before your ankle gives you trouble, they're going to say no longer service related. This is aging process maybe.
Yeah.
Or maybe you were recently in a car accident or something and messed your ankle up.
Yeah.
But if you sprained your ankle in basic training and then maybe again at AIT or while you were on duty, drill weekends, other things like this, and then throughout your life you have problems. Now, typical, most of us just, take ibuprofen, maybe put an ice pack on it.
Yeah.
We don't bother going to the doctor.
Yeah.
But our families see us doing these things.
Yeah.
Maybe your employer, you used to have a job where you had to do a lot of stooping and bending, and the employer goes, well, you have so much trouble with that ankle, let's switch you over to this guy's position.
Yeah.
He now knows that you have these ankle problems. He can write a witness statement saying, yeah, we had to actually change his job, the way he did his job because of it.
Yeah.
So that's history that can be used to show the chronicness of a condition. But the big thing is current diagnosis. People will say, well, I have, my knee's messed up from jumping out of planes.
Yep.
Okay, that's great. But have you, if you went on sick call in service, wonderful. But if you didn't go on sick call, You still know any of the guys that can talk about you eating a lot of ibuprofen or having a swollen knee or, things like that while you were in service.
Yeah.
But if you never got it properly diagnosed, the VA is going to say, well, are we rating you for a bone problem? Is it arthritis? Is it soft tissue?
Yeah.
Oh, you have pain in the back of your knee. But is the pain in the back of your knee because you developed a cyst, which is a common thing in the back of the knee, and will cause pain? So that has nothing to do with jumping out of a plane.
Yeah.
Or is it that you hyperextended all those tendons and whatnot in your knee, and now you're having problems with the knee? So you have to go to the doctor, and you have to get okay, I am claiming soft tissue damage, okay. Yeah. And maybe you go to your VA doctor and get a definitive, you hyperextended this particular tendon. VA has charts for all those different conditions, and okay, now we know what chart to use to rate you.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
compensation can be tricky.
Which I know we were also talking that, regarding secondary claims, for instance, say that you struggled from PTSD, you got diagnosed with PTSD, how you handled the PTSD is, maybe, before you got on medication, you started to drink. And then you started to drink, started now having problems with your liver. Now your liver, you get diagnosed with cirrhosis of the liver. That's part of the secondary claim that can be put in now because it's caused from the PTSD,
Yes. Because if you hadn't been damaged in service, you wouldn't need to self-medicate.
Absolutely.
Now, granted, if you were a heavy drinker before you went in service, they might say, okay, maybe this is an aggravation, not a direct connect.
Yeah.
So then they would say, okay, we're going to take 10% off that rating. So if they rate you 20 or 30 or 40% for your alcoholism, they're going to drop it 10% if it's an aggravation.
Yeah. Yes.
But most people at 16, 17, 18 years old aren't that heavy of a drinker.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, it comes in certain different ways. Now say that, as we were talking as well as, say that you're, used to be intimate more and more with your significant other. Now that you've been on your medication that they prescribe, say, that now say drops that, that part of your being intimate with your partner. Now it comes down to saying, okay, well, this is now, can we have that as a second, can we file a claim to have that as a secondary? Which we you can do it. Now you just got to be able to provide it, get the diagnosis from your doctor, and then be able to go ahead and get that file claim.
Yep. Yep. Anything that happens because of you have a bad knee, it's service connected, and it's getting really bad, and you're limping a lot. You're always standing on your left hip because your right knee is messed up. Now your left hip has been misaligned for a long time and bearing all the weight, and now it's doing the bone-on-bone rubbing.
Yeah.
Okay, that hip is definitely service connected because you wouldn't have been standing like that.
Yeah.
If your knee hadn't been messed up.
Yeah, and
so,
it's just like if you're pulling yourself up off of as you're going up the stairs, you're pulling yourself up instead of the normal walking, taking the steps and stuff like that. So those are part of secondary. Now, with that all, so say that they only give you, say, altogether, say 60%, but you're still filing a appeals for something, for another diagnosis that you have waiting because, say, they declined it, and that filing gets approved. What happens from there normally?
Okay, well, VA has a terrible math system. It is based on the idea that when you entered service, you were 100% whole.
Yeah.
So you have a 50% rating for sleep apnea, which a lot of people don't recognize that they have sleep apnea and they don't go and get diagnosed. If you're active duty, please, 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 if your roommates or your spouse are telling you that you stop breathing during the night or you snore like a Mack truck and things like that, you need to go and get those diagnoses.
Yes.
Because of sleep apnea is 50%. So what happens is now you are considered 50% disabled, whatever your highest rating is. They take that off first,
Yeah.
leaving you 50% whole. So you go and you get a 10% hearing loss, which is not a lot of hearing loss, but it's still significant enough that you may be struggling with, I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Correct.
Kind of stuff. Okay, you get 10% hearing loss. They're going to take 10% of the remaining 50. So it's actually 5. So now you're 55%,
Yeah.
which is going to round up to 60. So a lot of people think, oh, okay, they're adding the numbers together. No, because now you're still only 45% whole.
Yeah.
And you get your next 10%, say, for an ankle.
Yeah.
That's 10% of 45
Yeah.
added to the 55. So now you're 59.5.
Yeah.
So again, it's only going to be 60, even though it's 50, 10, and 10.
Yes. Correct.
So those numbers all adding together become really significant in that if you are struggling with staying employed, you're missing a lot of time due to physical therapy or treatment for certain things like PTSD. Maybe you go into a resident program, or maybe you lose your driver's license because you're self-medicating and other things like this. If
Yeah.
you have one condition that's rated 40%, but everything totals out to 70%, you can be looked at for unemployability. If you have one condition, such as PTSD, you can be 70% PTSD without spending more time in resident programs than not, or
Yeah.
not being constantly hospitalized for it. But you could be 70%, but maybe it's gotten you to the point where you are totally antisocial and you barely leave your home,
Yeah.
or you're just struggling with anger issues, suicidal thoughts, and things like that. So you might be 70%.
Yeah.
If they feel that that's going to stick with you the rest of your life, they make it permanent, then they can look at you and say, oh, he has one condition, but that condition is rated at 60% or greater. Is this person going to be successful in gaining and maintaining gainful employment?
Yeah.
So they may pay you at the 100% rate, even though your rating is only 60%.
Yeah.
So those individual unemployability applications go the same way as 100% service-connected rating as far as pay and benefits and all that stuff. The difference is either one of those ratings, 100% and or IAU, individual unemployability, need to be permanent and total in order to get the education benefits for your kids and things like that, and dental care and whatnot. So
yeah. All right.
It kind of adds on to each other, but at the same time, you may get a temporary rating, but then they review it every 2 years or 5 years, depending on your conditions.
Yeah.
And after a couple of those times, generally speaking, your doctor usually will agree with you that they're going to stay the same and or get worse. So if you can get the medical statements saying this is a permanent situation,
yeah,
like you're taking a certain medication that's causing all sorts of havoc with you otherwise,
yeah,
and Lupron for prostate cancer, reoccurring prostate cancer, a lot of times after 2 or 3 times of it reoccurring,
yeah,
they'll go on a medication called Lupron. And at first they'll say, oh, well, we're going to give you temporary 100% because you're back under cancer care.
Yeah.
But now you're on Lupron. Lupron's a lifetime commitment. You need that doctor to put down, this is a lifetime medication.
Yeah.
And then they will make it a permanent and total rating.
Okay.
So that's where VSOs are real important, because we know those little quirky rules and we'll push you to get the things done that you need.
And that's where they turn around and they're able to also take a look at what's going on in the background of everything, so that they're able to see, hey, this is what they're what the VA is talking about, or hey, this is what they're saying right now, or hey, this is what they said during the doctor said whatever, during the interview, the appointment with them. So again, that's where the VSOs need, are, very important, to see those individuals, because other individuals won't be able to see that information. They won't be able to see that.
And talk about doctors. When you do a compensation exam or a pension exam, which we're going to talk about next, you have to have a medical doctor examine you. The VA always rates you based on current condition.
Correct.
If you're filing for a cancer that was presumptive because you were over in the sandbox, and now all of a sudden you've gone through the treatment, now you're cancer free.
Yeah.
They're going to rate you what you are today. They can't go back. But if you had filed because you just found out you have cancer, you're going to be 100% for a minimum of a year when it comes to cancer. You're going to go through your treatments. Once your treatments are done, they're going to start a 1-year calendar and say, okay, a year from now, we're going to examine you and see if you are cancer free.
Yeah.
If you are, great. Then they're going to reduce your rating, but you're still going to have some ratings, because if you had any kind of side effects, say you had kidney cancer, well, now you have a missing kidney, or you have surgery, or you have side effects from the radiation seeds that they might have used on you.
Yeah.
They're going to rate those new secondary and or ancillary conditions, such as possibly urinary leakage or other things like that. So it never disappears, let's put it that way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's where, those, when you're going to see those doctors, you need to make sure that, you tell them how it's feeling, not like it's right then. If it's your knee's not hurting, or your back's not hurting, or anything like that, you need to be able to tell the doctor, this is how I feel, on
my worst day.
On my worst day, not how I feel today.
And really, telling the doctor is good.
Yeah.
But please, 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 every claim I made, unless it was something directly presumptive or so clear in their service treatment records that there would be absolutely zero argument on the VA on what their condition was, I would always ask my veterans, please write that statement down. I am claiming my knee because this is what happened in service, and this is how it's impacted me today.
Yeah.
Because you go into that comp and pen exam, and you might forget to talk to him about the fact that you use the handrail to pull yourself up the stairs rather than just being able to walk up the stairs.
Yeah.
And that doctor may not make real clear notes. So when the packet goes to the rater, the rater doesn't know that you're struggling with stairs.
Yeah.
If you write that statement and it's in your claim file, the rater has to review each piece of evidence. So he's going to have to sit there and read that statement from you. Oh, gee, he struggles with stairs.
Yeah.
Or he fell down the stairs because his knee gave out. He fell down 3 steps at the end of the stairs because his knee gave out. That's a great deal of instability in the knee, as opposed to, evidence of instability in the knee.
Correct. And I mean, again, it's also, as we were saying before, if your employer or someone notices this stuff, get them to write the statement as well. Because again, more is better.
Yes. And wives are great when it comes to hearing loss ones.
Oh, absolutely.
I am always telling him to turn the TV down. If I stand behind him, in the kitchen doorway and talk to him, he just doesn't hear me at all.
I mean, it's just like mine. It's like she had no problem writing the statement when it came to my sleep apnea. I got diagnosed with it through the VA, and my wife really had no problem saying, listen, you're not in the room when he's sleeping. You need to hear it. It's like a freight train is like right on top of us. It's like the that cartoon where as the person is snoring, the roof is going up and then coming down. You know, that's how it feels. You know, and it's definitely, like I said, it's better to have more than it is to have little. On this stuff, and that's just to cover, again, you cover your own tail with this stuff. So,
and sometimes going and getting those diagnoses, it means taking time off of work and doing all the running that you have to do. But one of my Marine friends had his tonsils taken out while he was in the Corps, and in the operating room is when they discovered it. He had a bleeding disorder.
Wow.
Not a good thing when it comes to the potential of being on a battlefield.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So after 9 years, they said, son, you can go home now. Well, a few years later, his wife said, you're starting to struggle as far as breathing and snoring and all this stuff. And he went into figuring it was sleep apnea. Doctor said, yeah, it sounds like it. Let's do the sleep test. And they did the sleep test, and they said, yeah, but there's something else going on other than just disruptive. He wasn't having some of the other brain waves things that go on with sleep apnea.
Yeah.
So they did another exam. He actually had grown back his tonsils. And the doctor said, this is coming from your tonsils. Your tonsils are so inflamed way down in your throat. And he was like,
wow.
I had my tonsils out. And they were like, ooh, well, they grew back, which they do sometimes, very rarely. So they controlled his bleeding situation, took his tonsils out again, and 7 years later, one of his tonsils grew back.
Oh, wow.
So sometimes you find things that can really freak you out when you go and get your exam for diagnosis.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I have not had my tonsils taken out ever. But I get constantly. I get at least 3-4 times a year. I get strep throat, and all you see is my tonsils so inflamed.
So you may end up being in one of those adult tonsil patients.
I hope not. I don't want to. So far, the doctor has said we don't need to take your tonsils out, even though you get strep throat. And you got to be on the antibiotic to, to make the swelling go away, which is like the steroids. And I'm like, I'm already on this anyways because my inflammation in my back. Like I said, I'm already on that, occasionally here and there. So I'm used to it. But the doctor so far, which I got a new doctor now with the VA. So one thing I do, I don't get, but or I don't understand is how many doctors primary care doctors I've seen, and how often they change. But again,
there's a lot within the VA system itself that's difficult for the doctors. First and foremost, VA is a training medical center.
Yeah.
In other words, they get a lot of doctors in that are interns.
Correct.
I mean, there's a lot of hospitals nowadays that won't take on interns because of their insurance.
Yeah.
But VA does.
Yeah.
So, but they are under the supervision of a doctor.
Correct.
So I have a nurse practitioner that takes care of my heart.
Yeah.
But she works directly for a doctor. So if she wants to change my medicine or whatever, I always have to wait. And usually about 2 hours after our appointment, I'll get a phone call saying, okay, it's approved to change your medicine or whatever.
Yeah.
She has to get it approved. So that's true. Also, unfortunately, a lot of them get tired of the red tape.
Yeah.
A lot of them have anger in not being able to spend more time with their patients.
Yep.
And then they go out and they get a job in a civilian hospital and they go, damn, it's the same way out here.
Yeah.
So it's not really better in the VA or on the outside world, because you can try and get an appointment with a neurosurgeon in the civilian world and wait just as long, if not longer, than you would inside the VA.
That is so true. And I mean, the good thing is the VA that I go to, again, they have the university which is Brown University. That's right there next to, not next door, but they're right there. And so they get a lot of Brown University interns. But when I was at JP, which is Jamaica Plains, in Boston, just so anybody if you're not from Massachusetts, you wouldn't know what JP is. Jamaica Plains, Boston. We would get a lot of Harvard interns, residents that are coming in to do their internship and all that. Which again, I mean, it's phenomenal. And a lot of them do get frustrated with definitely not able to spend more time with their patients. Some of them, I have one that definitely gets frustrated because it's like, he's like, I want to spend a few more minutes trying to understand, your background or what, this or that, because I don't like reading the notes. I don't want to have to go through the notes and have to figure all this out and go through, 2-3 years. I'd rather have you give me a quick synopsis of it and be able to tell me. But he goes with the punches and just goes, which I figured he's going to be changing out probably here shortly, unfortunately.
I've been real lucky. I've only had one other doctor than the one I have now.
Yeah.
And as far as my primary goes.
Yeah.
So, and I've been very blessed. You may or may not be able to tell, but they actually had to rebuild part of my upper part of my mouth. I had cracked the hard palate in my mouth.
Oh, wow.
When the whole side of my face had been all bruised up and stuff. But anyways, okay, we're getting sidetracked.
Absolutely. So back into, the comp and pen and stuff like that. It's always better to have more than it is to have less. What else on top of that is there really for the veterans to gather out of all this?
Well, and if you have dependents, you want to get your dependent records, your birth certificates, including stepchildren.
Yeah.
So if you're on your second marriage and you have your biological children, or you don't have biological children, and now you have 2 stepchildren, those are considered dependents because you are financially contributing to their quality of life.
Yeah.
So, and a marriage certificate, if you have been previously married, you have to show a divorce certificate so that they can verify that, in fact, that first divorce or death certificate if they passed away, so that you had legal right to marry the second spouse.
Yeah.
So, and they have to show the same thing if they had been married before.
Gotcha. Okay.
But again, this is where your VSO comes in. They're going to have I literally had a checklist and I would hand it to them.
Yeah.
This, and this. And, you don't need to bother with this because you didn't have, this is your only marriage. But,
yeah.
And hand it to them. So there's a lot to it. And again, this is where a VSO comes in.
Yeah.
So make sure you work with one. And they can scan those documents directly into the VA. They can receive a document. If you were looking for your DD-214 and you entered service in California, but you've moved 3 or 4 times since then to different states, and now you live in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And you can't find your DD-214, the number 4 long copy?
Yeah.
Okay. They can call California.
Yeah.
And fax over or scan over a request to California, and they can literally send that document electronically to your VSO, and that VSO can print it off and stamp it and sign it, stating it's a true copy of a custodial document.
Yeah.
And VA will accept that.
Which that's definitely because I know the process usually is you got to submit the paperwork to St. Louis and go through the whole long process.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll tell you it is that's where a VSO is very important to a lot of this stuff, because that stuff can be fast tracked so much quicker with the VSO compared to have to go through all the other steps and jumps and hoops to go through St. Louis to get that, where then you may not even get everything that you're requesting. You might only get a fraction of it, so now you're going to submit another one. So VSO is always the top of the list on having them as a helping you to take care of this, because that is like the number one thing that you want to be able to do.
Yep.
So with that, now, you know, more. What is there anything else that the viewers should know regarding the comp and pen, other than what we've already discussed so far?
Yeah. Well, the second half of that is the pension side.
Yeah.
In 11 and a half years as a CVSO, and having met people, thousands, literally, veterans, because I did county fairs and I went to baseball salute games and the Timber Rattlers and the Gamblers hockey team and things like that. And as you said, I'm one of those gregarious people. So I'm in the grocery store and there's a guy with a hat on that says Vietnam veteran. I go over, I thank him for his service.
Yeah.
And I check to make sure that he's getting his benefits, that he knows what his benefits are in case they ever are needed. And do they know that there's somebody right there at the county seat ready to help him for free?
Yeah.
So, but, uh-oh, lost the train track here. Yeah, where was I going with that?
So you were talking about how the veteran would be able to, like, after you introduce yourself into to the Vietnam veteran, you'll be able to say, hey, there is someone here that can help you for free, and guide you to make sure you're getting the benefits that you should be getting.
Okay. Now I remember. Actually, it started out with the pension side of the house.
Yes.
Okay. Pension. In 11 and a half years, only one guy had ever heard that there was a VA pension.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of people to meet and only have one say, oh, yeah, I've heard of it, but I don't know how it works or who gets it.
Yeah.
Don't you have to do 20 years in service? And it's like, no, that's a DOD retirement.
Yeah.
Pension is an income-based program. Any veteran that served federal active duty for at least one day during a war period, in other words, maybe you were scheduled to ETS the day after the balloon went up.
Yeah.
Or you enlisted the day before things ended. Then you continued on to federal duty.
Yeah.
If that federal duty day was inside that war period, then you have the option of a pension if you should financially need it.
Yeah.
Now, 99% of the people that are going to qualify for pension are over the age of 65.
Yeah.
At the age of 65, you're no longer considered inside the employment market.
Yeah.
That's for veterans. Okay? But you can qualify well under the age of 65. My youngest veteran that I helped get this application was 22 years old. He'd been in a severe accident after service. He was never going back to work. And he was only going to receive $850 a month from Social Security because he didn't qualify for disability. He didn't have enough history with Social Security, so he's going to get SSI.
Yeah.
You can't live on $850.
No.
So, well, now granted, it's gone up in the last probably 8 years since he went on it. But the VA pension program takes your total household income, all different sources, so, interest from the bank and things like that. They put it all together and they say, okay, this is how much money you're making each year.
Yeah.
Now we're going to subtract off all your medical expenses, what you're paying out of pocket, your insurance premiums, your insurance co-pays, dental insurance, pharmacy. Even, we always threw $50 on as over the counter. But if you're a senior citizen and maybe you're using protective undergarments, there's $25 a pack.
Yeah.
So you're going to have a lot more than over the counter. And you just have to be descriptive, over the counter, protective undergarments, and maybe $1,000 a year for some people.
Yeah.
So now we subtract all those medical expenses from your total income and they say, oh, you're living below poverty. we're going to supplement a veteran. They use 130% of poverty for the cutoff. So if you're below that amount, they're going to supplement your income back up to that 130%.
Yeah.
Some people say, oh, well, now I can afford to go get those dentures or whatever.
Yeah.
So you get those dentures. The next year, you get to report that denture expense.
Yeah.
So a lot of times it provided my veterans the opportunity to get some medical care that they otherwise thought they weren't going to ever be able to afford, or get those new glasses or things. Now, if you're in the VA, you can go to the VA for your glasses.
Yeah.
So the VA is going to prefer that you do that, but some people have vision issues where they need special coatings and color tinting and all sorts of fancy glasses that the VA may not provide.
Yeah.
Okay, or they need a second pair. I wear 2 different kinds of glasses. I wear my close-up glasses. Actually, have 3 different kinds. I have my driving glasses, and then I also have my computer glasses.
Yeah.
So the VA will only give me 1 pair a year.
Yeah.
So if I were looking at pension, I would be able to subtract the cost of those other 2 glasses off.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of knowing all the little things that you can put down for expenses. Now, obviously, if you have an income of, say, $3,000 a month, you're blessed to get a pension from your old job, and you're getting Social Security, and your income's $3,000 a month, and all of a sudden you have to go into assisted living, and you're talking $8,000 a month to just live at the assisted living place.
Yeah.
You can see where that's going to consume your assets really quickly.
Correct.
And pension does have an asset cap, and it's around $150,000 worth of liquid assets.
Yeah.
In other words, not the home you live in, not the car you drive, not your personal belongings,
Yeah.
but everything that you have in investments and things like that. There's a lot of Korean War guys and older that don't have any liquid assets left.
Yeah.
And if they're leaving a widow behind, she also has this option of using this program.
Yeah.
And so now all of a sudden she's trying to survive on 1 Social Security check. So for the veterans situation, you either have to show that you're unable to work before 65
Yeah.
or over 65, and then they're just going to look at the big picture. How much income do you have? How much outgo do you have medically? And what your living income is.
Yeah.
Okay, your living income is this much, and you have this much in the bank, and everything else all adds up to $127,000. You're going to get pension money.
Yeah.
It might be $35 a month, depending on your medical expenses, and it might be $1,000 a month, or even $1,800 a month.
Yeah.
Because if you need things, if you become housebound, say now you're scooter and or wheelchair bound, so you're not driving and going places easily on your own, you need assistance getting out and about with your house, throughout your house, or you've gotten to the point where doctor says you have fallen several times and you are a risk to yourself, so when you shower or when you get in and out of the bathtub, you must have someone nearby so that you can yell for help if you need it.
Yeah.
Or maybe you have a back injury and you can't bend to get your socks and shoes on anymore.
Yeah.
And maybe you're having memory issues and you're not taking care of your medications properly and stuff. And the doctor says, okay, I want you to either have a machine that will pop out your pills at a certain time of day, or I want you to have a person that actually is going to check that your medications are all lined up and ready for you to go and that you're taking them.
Yeah.
So those are called aid and attendance.
Yeah.
It's when they help with your daily tasks of living, dressing, bathing, and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So then you can qualify for aid and attendance. Those 2 benefits, housebound and aid and attendance, also apply to compensation. But most people know them more regularly under the increases for pension.
Okay.
But they apply for compensation too. So if you go and have a knee replacement that's service connected, well, obviously you're not going to be able to take care of yourself very well. So you're going to qualify for aid and attendance too. And then so many months later, they're going to look and say, okay, are you still requiring assistance with your daily tasks of living?
Yeah.
On the pension side, aid and attendance applies. If you go into an assisted living, that's called aid and attendance.
Yeah.
Because you don't go spend $800 or $8,000 a month or more unless you need assistance with those things.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
yeah, so that's the higher scale of the pension. There's 3 different levels of pension.
Okay. Now.
So, and for a widow, it goes the same way. But on the case of widows or surviving children, dependents,
Yeah.
there is no age limit.
So they can get it no matter how long.
Right. So maybe the spouse is 42 years old when the veteran dies of his service-connected cancer or something like that. Well, now all of a sudden she's down to 1 income again, and maybe she's got a mortgage based on the 2-income household and things like this. So
Yeah.
they can do that. If that surviving dependent then, say, changes jobs and gets more education or remarries
Yeah.
or something like that, then they're going to probably drop the pension. But
Okay.
later on, if that second marriage ends, they have the option of going back to the first benefit.
Gotcha. Okay.
So a lot of times benefits can be reinstated. Dependent indemnity compensation, which
Yeah.
is the survivor's compensation when the veteran dies, that's the other part of survivor benefits. There's pension,
Yeah.
income-based, wartime service, and then there's compensation for the surviving family, and that's based on a service-related death.
Okay.
You know, when we lose our heroes in service, their
Yep.
families receive DIC.
Yeah.
They receive a monthly income, they receive education benefits for the children, and things like that. So it's the same thing as if you died in the battlefield.
Now, just for the viewers' take on this, when you say DIC, what does that stand for?
Dependent indemnity compensation.
Okay.
So, you know, you can guess what the acronyms
Yeah.
sounds like. So, but DIC is the same thing as pension in
Yeah.
that my veteran died of a service-connected thing.
Yeah.
I'm 42 years old, and maybe I remarry at the age of 50.
Yeah.
They're going to stop the DIC.
Yeah.
But if, say, I was 62 when my veteran died,
Yeah.
and I remarry at 64, they're not going to stop the DIC. There's an age cutoff,
Okay.
57. So, you know, one of my CVSOs always used to tell me about when I was learning, taught me about he had a veteran and the spouse, the veteran passed, she was 56. And, she was 55.
Yeah.
And at 56, she met somebody, and she was like head over heels and rushed to the altar.
Yeah.
She lost her DIC. He had told her, if you wait till you're 58, you're going to keep your DIC.
Yeah.
So there are all sorts of little secret rules of all these programs. Now, say at 69, that person died or they divorced. She may or may not know she can reapply for DIC.
Okay.
So veterans benefits aren't always permanently removed.
Yeah.
Sometimes they have an age thing, and sometimes they can be reinstated.
It's good
There
to
are
know.
literally, I would guess approximately, I'm one of these number crunchers.
Yeah.
I actually look at the annual data from VA on how many people are receiving which pensions and
Yeah.
or which benefits and stuff. Based on surviving spouses, I would say that there's probably 2 to 3 million widows out there that are either entitled to DIC,
Yeah.
a lot of them being Agent Orange, Vietnam, Blue Water Navy, Camp Lejeune, ALS, which is a presumptive for all veterans, no matter when you served,
Yeah.
that don't know that they're entitled to that $1,800 a month tax-free
Really?
income. They don't know that they're entitled to CHAMP VA insurance. So if they need a supplement for their Medicare, ta-da, there it is.
Yeah.
They no longer have to pay for one. But they don't know that these benefits are there because things just came out on the list.
Yeah.
I think it was around 15 years ago they put ALS on. And I ran an article in the newspaper, got the newspaper to post me a good article. And we had 5 widows.
Yeah.
Oh, my veteran died, a few years before that. And I said, oh, well, I can't do anything about the couple of years you missed already, but we can turn around and get you this benefit from here on forward.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's good to know, and I guarantee you, there's a few people I know that viewers that watch this, and I know, though they have lost their loved one, due to a TBI, and stuff like that, and they extend, they got it, while they're deployed, so that's going to be definitely interesting to talk to them and be able to point them into that direction just in case they don't know about it. Because again, that's something I haven't had to deal with it myself directly, but now talking to you and you've dealt with this before. These,
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be the direct cause.
Yeah.
The veteran suffers a cancer. He goes through chemo, radiation. His immune system is totally compromised.
Yeah.
And now something else happens, and say he develops pneumonia because he can't get up and walk about because of maybe a car accident after service. But if he hadn't had a compromised immune system, and the doctor says, well, he went through all this stuff in service, or he took a certain medication, and now he has this side effect that kills him.
Yeah.
It's service connected if the service stuff contributes to the death.
And
the veteran falls down the stairs because of Parkinson's.
Yeah.
He dies of a broken neck, but he wouldn't have fallen down the stairs.
Yeah.
If he hadn't had the Parkinson's.
Correct.
So you have to know how to word these things, how to relate these things, how to talk to the coroners. When I first became a CVSO, I went down the hall and said, hey, whenever you have, because in Wisconsin, they always ask the family, is this a veteran? And they check a box on the death certificate. And I said, do you understand how important checking that box is, and how important it is if you put yes, that you send the family to the CVSO office?
Yeah.
And he was like, no, not really. Why?
Yeah.
And I said, well, because if they're Agent Orange, this was before PAC Act.
Yeah.
If they're Agent Orange, if they're, Korean War, and you think that their death related somehow to the fact that they had poor circulation from frostbite in Korea, or maybe they were a veteran that was served during peacetime, but he died of a certain cancer, and his MOS exposed him to certain chemicals like PD680.
Yeah.
Those are highly carcinogen chemicals. So even though he's peacetime, he still is going to die from a service-connected cancer.
Yeah.
We can get that DIC for the surviving family.
Yeah.
So my coroner was so flabbergasted, and I had to teach him all about Agent Orange and give him the presumptive list and, what questions. I said, look, just if they're a veteran, send the family to me, because maybe it's not going to be DIC. Maybe it's going to be pension.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just that 1 year of pension because of the high costs of the funeral.
Yeah.
So my coroner, every time he had a checkbox of yes on a death certificate for a veteran, he gave him my business card and said, you need to call this lady.
And that
could mean money.
And that's amazing that you definitely did that, because again, I know we've talked before on last time, is that you had a doctor, the medical examiner finally changed the cause of death and all that because of I think it was Agent Orange or something like that. It's absolutely amazing that you have that connection to those individuals, and again, you have the knowledge, and that's where, again, where a NCO stomps his legs and says it'd behoove you to make note of this. I'm telling everybody, telling all the viewers, go see a VSO. Don't go paying out of pocket for anybody else, because you do not need to pay out of pocket. Accredited VSO will take care of you. They have the knowledge. They have the if they don't know that information, they have the ability to reach out to others that have that information, because those VSOs have so much to work with and be able to tell you what you need to do, how do you need to do it, and they're very important. Extremely.
Yeah, a couple years later, Kurt asked me to come and speak. I went to the state coroner's conference.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, how many in this room know about your veterans benefits and know why it's so important for you when you check the veteran box? And they all just kind of looked at me. I said, do any of you know what the military presumptives are? In other words, things the VA doesn't even argue about depending on when and where a veteran served.
Yeah.
And the only one that raised their hand was Mike Horner.
Yeah. See?
So, yeah. And the other great asset I had was church leaders. Church leaders and assisted living and nursing home administrators. Anytime somebody walked into them to talk about going into an assisted living or something, oh, your husband was a veteran? Oh, when did he serve? Oh, he served in the Korean War. Here's Jane's card. Go call her.
Yeah.
But so if you're out there and you have a group or organization or something that wants to learn about this stuff, find me on LinkedIn.
Yep.
I'm not hard to find.
Nope.
And I will be happy to send you all the electronic information. And then if you want a virtual class or a one-on-one phone call, video call, I do them almost every day.
And that's amazing of you, and I definitely applaud you for that, because that's absolutely amazing that you're doing that. Even though you're retired from all this, you're absolutely amazing individual, and can't thank you enough for the stuff that you've done, and as well as you serving your country. With now you said 4 DD-214s. That's absolutely amazing. Again, I want to thank you for coming on this evening. I know we have so much still more to cover. And again, the viewers are going to be waiting for this and, waiting to get more information, because this is very knowledgeable information that we all need to have as veterans, let alone the spouses, because this is information that they need to obtain as well.
Yeah, right now less than 600,000 surviving spouses are receiving benefits. Yet the VA knows that there's likely close to 3 million.
Wow.
That should be, whether it's pension, whether it's DIC, whether it's reinstatement of benefits from their first marriage or something.
Yeah.
They're out there. They just don't know.
Yeah. That's definitely a high number, and we need to get that down, and getting that squared away. Again, I appreciate you coming out and talking to the viewers. Again, we will have you back for a 3rd episode, maybe even a 4th, depending on how much more information that we can pull out of that brain of yours to be able to give that out to everybody, because this is information that we all need. And again, thank you so much, Jan, and we look forward to seeing you again here soon.
Thanks, Doug. Everybody take care. God bless.
Yes, thank you.
Shut up!
Yeah. Shut up!
You suck!
Stop, in the name of all that which does not suck.
Thanks for watching Fubar Studios Veteran Reinforcement. Please make sure to check out the Fubar Studios on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and visit the website at fubarstudio.com. Fubar Studios is a Sinista1 Production.